I am Ting Zhang. This is how to analyze PX cycle 2 using EdSurvey. This section is about cross-tabulation and getting plausible value means. All right, so EdSurvey provides this function called EdSurveyTable, help you to get plausible value means by categorical variables. So for this function, there are three important arguments. First, formula. On the left side, you should identify the outcome variables, which can be a continuous variable or a set of plausible values. And on the right side is your categorical variables, your predictors. It can be multiple predictors and separated by the plus sign. So you should also provide your data, which will be an EdSurvey data object. For example, DEU and the German data object you reading before. So in addition to the plausible value means or continuous variable means, it also provides the distribution of the percentage per each subgroup. And we're going to talk about how to do this using this argument in the next few slides. All right, so let's dive into the function. In this example, I want to create a cross-tabulation of a student or the respondent's literacy outcome by gender. So I use this function EdSurveyTable, and I specify my outcome variable as the literacy scale. For the predictors, I use gender, and the data I use the German data DEU. So let's look at the RStudio and actually run this function. Okay, I just opened my RStudio. And among all the training materials, you can open this material called PX Workshop 2025 script, which shows all the code we have in the presentation slides. So remember, you want to read in your data using EdSurvey first. So previously, we already reading three data sets. One is from USA, another one is from Germany, we named as DEU, and then the third one is from France. For this example, we're going to use a DEU data object. All right, so let's go to the table, EdSurveyTable line, which should be around 96. What you do is just click run. You get the results. Okay, so you might have the question, how do I know my outcome variable name and my predictor names? So the best function I use is, first of all, is show plausible values. So what you do is in the console, you do show plausible values, and you provide your data, which is DEU in our case. And you will see that there are three subject scales in the PX cycle 3. This is a scale name, lead, norm, and APS. So because I wanted the literacy, I just copy and paste this name to my function here. How about gender? How do I know? How do I know the gender variable? So what I do is usually I use a search SDF function Paul just mentioned previously. All right, so here you need, first of all, provide the keywords you want to search. In my case, I'm interested in gender. And then the data is DEU. All right, hit run. All right, so there are a total of 4 gender-related variables. So we just use the first variable. I just copy and paste into my original function. Then I got I got everything I need. All right, so now let's look at the outcomes from this run. And let's see how do we interpret it. All right, so the summary tells you this is the formula we used to get the literacy scale. And in order to get the literacy scores, this function use all 10 plausible values. And then it also applied the weight variables, the SPF WT0, and the variance method is jackknife, and used all the JK replicate weights from the PX cycle 2, which are 80 replicate weights. So the full data is 4,793 participants. And in this round, we find there's no missing data. So we use all the respondents' data. All right, so this is a final outcome. The N represented the original sample size for each group. The second column is weighted N. Once the weight applies, you can see how many males this group represented and how many females this group represented, and then the percentage distribution. So there are about 50%, 51% of the males in this sample and 49% of female in this sample. And we also produce the standard error of the percentage for you. So our interest is the means, right? So in general, male achieved about 264 score points in the literacy. And the female score is about 268. And you can also get the standard error of the means from here. All right, let's look at another example with more predictors. So in this case, I want to see the gender group by learning frequency on the numeracy achievement. So same function as EdSurveyTable, but this time I change my outcome variable as a numeracy scale. And then I use the same gender variable plus the learning frequency variable, which you can find the detail using the search SDF function. My data is a German data. Let's look at the outcome. So same, it tells you the formula and it tells you use all the plausible values and the weights to calculate the final results. Let's look at the outcome. All right. So in this case, I want to show you the percentage category because right now it's a bit different. So previously I mentioned we can change the percentage distributions. Let's look at the percentage distribution here. So the percentage distribution by default is for the first variable for males, the percentage add up to 100. And then for female, the second level, it add up to 100%. This is a default, but you can change the default if you want you want all the subgroups add up to 100. So this is the argument you need to use to change the distribution. All right, let me show you in the next slides. All right, here, I specify my percent aggregation level to 0 and then run the same analysis. All right, let's go back to the R to do the actual run. All right, I'm in my R Studio. Let's look at line 100. Here, I add this argument, percent aggregation level, and I change to 0. Let's see what happened. All right, so look at the results here. And if you pay attention to the percent category, you'll find that the percentages now add up to 100 across all the levels. Let's compare with the previous run. This is a previous run without changing the percent aggregation level. And the percent here add up to 100 for the first variable, first level. All right, so this is EdSurveyTable.